Novak Djokovic pulls through and he does beat Alex de Minaur in the round of 16 at Wimbledon. And we knew this coming into this match, but this just showcased it was by far Djokovic's most difficult task at Wimbledon so far. In his first match, he did go to 4 sets and lost in the tiebreak. I forget to who, to be honest, but he did lose his first match. But we all knew that he was in control of that match. He had won the first set, just got a little sloppy with a couple of points, and then lost the tiebreak. No big deal, came back and easily won the last 2 sets. But this was going to be a challenge. It was going to be difficult for Novak because de Minaur is a very tricky player. He's very fast. He has pretty good power. There were conditions that were against him, especially in the first set, which John McEnroe said, eloquently, is maybe as bad of a first set or a set in general as you see Novak play in years, in genuine years. 6-1, his serve got broken 3 times. The wind, like I said, was so against him. They had the roof open because they usually only have it closed if it's raining or if it's like a thunder or lightning warning or something like that. But Djokovic served poorly in that first set. And he had, I believe it was less than 50% first serve percentage, which is horrendously bad for a player of Djokovic's caliber. And we were just wondering, what is going on? What's up? This ain't you. This is bad. So we were just questioning that. But Novak came in, pulled through, and he showed one of his most impressive qualities to me. It's his ability to adjust during matches. If something else is not working, because every player comes in with the game plan, you study a player, you know what they're good at, what they're not so great at, and you have a plan. For him to make in-match adjustments and then change the way he's playing from trying some serving volleys, especially later on in the match, from, instead of doing drop shots, because drop shots don't work against a player as quick as de Minaur, just keep him going end to end. And I know he's incredibly fast, but he's still more likely to make a mistake, relying on things like that. A lot of slices in this match as well, because it's speed, he'll kill you. But slices, let's make sure he's accurate. Let's make sure he has pinpoint position on some of those balls, because I believe that that's the best way to beat de Minaur, and Djokovic found that and he exploited that for the last 3 sets, broke him in each of the last 3 sets, but he was broken like crazy. I mean, de Minaur broke him 6 times, 19 break point chances, so Djokovic did say 13 break points, but he was still broken 6 times. Djokovic also broke de Minaur 6 times. I believe he broke them, all 6 times were in the last 3 sets, because he didn't break him in the first set, of course. And he had a couple times where he, I think, broke him in the first set, but then got broken right back. Broke him in the second set, and then got broken right back. So it kind of took away everything. But if you look at his end of match stats, they are crazy different than what the first set was. 66% first serve, which if you take away that first set, I imagine his first serve percentage is close to 80%, which is very good in the last 3 sets. He just started serving so much better. The serve had been such a great weapon for Novak through the first 3 rounds of Wimbledon so far. It just wasn't going well for him in this match. But he was able to find that towards the end and eventually pull through and rely on his serve, because his serve has been one of the areas of his game that has just gotten better and better and better in time. It wasn't an immediate weapon the way that it was for a player like Federer, or the way that it is for somebody who's very powerful, like a John Isner or Karlovic, or even a Ben Shelton, where they just have monstrous 135, 140 mile an hour serves like that. But he's gotten so much better at that, and he used that as a weapon. But he did have 5 double faults, especially in the first set. He was double faulting like crazy, and you're just like, what's going on? Double faulting is oftentimes when we say a player has the yips. Double faulting is usually one of those instances where those yips come out and maybe they're nervous, they're afraid, they're timid, and then they start double faulting a lot. But Djokovic, it seemed like a lot of that was the elements, not just the way that he was playing particularly. He did have 6 aces. de Minaur only had 1 ace, but I was very impressed with de Minaur's play today. I thought he played exceptionally well, and he should look at this performance and say, this is something that I could go off on. I saw his record against top 10 opponents is poor. It's not good at all, but they are the top 10 best players in the world, so you can't expect it to be much greater than that. But Djokovic increased his level by so much towards the end of the match, and especially in the last few games when Djokovic broke de Minaur after he had gotten broken in the last set, and then broke him again and then ended up serving for the match. De Minaur's play had just gone down significantly. You could tell that not only was he tired, he had tried everything, and Djokovic had figured him out. In match adjustments, he just figured him out, and there was nothing more that de Minaur could do. So yeah, Novak can look at this one and say I was tested, because I think every player needs a little bit of a test. You know what I mean? If we remember the U.S. Open 2 years ago, Novak won every match in straight sets except for the match against Laszlo Djere, where he was down 2 sets to love, and we were like, "What is going on here?" And apparently, he gave himself a hype up in the bathroom, like, "You got this," and then he ended up winning that match before winning the championship, of course. Maybe this is a good set for Djokovic. He plays against Flavio Covalli, I think it is. Flavio Coballi, number 22 player in the world, who just beat somebody today. Yeah, he beat Cleocic today, who beat Draper. And Draper, obviously, a friend of the hometown crowd, and Cleocic just took him apart. So Flavio Covalli won't be an easy test as well. He's currently ranked 22 in the world, Italian and other guys. So we'll see how he does against Coballi. I'm not too familiar with this game, but obviously Djokovic will be the favorite. Once we get to the semis, if Djokovic can beat Coballi, of course, that's when I believe that he'll play Jannik Sinner. And that'll be the test. If Djokovic beats Sinner, he can beat anybody. And he's had a very difficult time with Sinner recently. Lost the last 4 meetings to Sinner. And I think Sinner's actually leading Djokovic in the head-to-head like 5-4. So clearly, that's going to be a big test for him, the biggest test for him, because he's clearly the player that Djokovic has the most difficulty with. Djokovic can beat Alcaraz. Alcaraz can beat him too. Last 2 Wimbledon finals, of course. But Djokovic can beat Alcaraz. Olympic final, Australian Open earlier this year. He can beat him. But it doesn't seem like Djokovic now, at least in the past year and a half, can beat Sinner. Maybe their play styles are too similar, and Sinner is, at this current stage of Novak, just a quicker version, a little bit more powerful version of Novak. Maybe the player that Novak was when he was younger. That's who Sinner is now in terms of the athletic standpoint. And even though Djokovic is probably smarter, you'd have to say, given his age. So that'll be very interesting. But first, he has to get through Coballi, which won't be an easy feat for him. Hopefully, Novak starts the match a little bit better. I don't actually know what the weather is going to be like in the UK coming up. So today's Monday. So what will the weather be like on Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday will be anywhere from 78 to 61. So what is that? That's like anywhere from like mid-20s all the way to like 16-ish degrees. So anywhere from 16 to like 26-ish. So quite a huge range, but it doesn't seem like it'll be too windy in the UK. So that'll be a bit good. The final, by the way, is going to be 89 degrees. So like, 31-ish degrees, 32-ish degrees high anyway. So that'll be a very hot day. So if Alcaraz or Sinner are there, hopefully they, are able to mitigate that and that doesn't cause too much of a problem. But anyway, let's hope the wind isn't too much of a factor, because the wind was a huge factor in this match. It'll be a little bit calmer, it looks like, on Wednesday. So hopefully that'll help, because Djokovic seems to be the type of player who's really affected when the wind is against him. But yeah, Novak does it again. He is that guy. Roger Federer was in attendance, and he's even said that he's never won a match when Roger was in attendance. So I'm glad he was able to do that for the first time. And let's see what Novak does against Coballi, because I can't wait to see Novak compete. I'm not saying he will, but compete for that coveted 25th slam. And it would be so poetic for him to do it at Wimbledon.